We'll call the joint meeting of the Tantasqua and Union 61 school committees to order at 6:01 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first item on the agenda is a presentation from our Project 351 students. Mr. Sturgis, will you do the honors?
Yeah, thank you very much for having us. So every year, this is the one meeting I get to actually present some middle school students, because usually all the high school awards throughout the year. So I'm proud to present two of our young ladies out of our Project 351. We have 5 each year that we get to send out to the State House in Boston in January for launch day. I'm going to not steal their speech. I'll let them tell you all about their experience. Obviously, we only have 2 here tonight. For middle school, junior high students, it's tough to get out here. We have 2 playing softball, 1 at an appointment, and 2 that were thankfully able to come tonight. So these are 5 of our best rock stars in the building. We have kids playing softball, doing YPAR, peer connections. They're in the play, they're in band. These kids are just extremely involved. They keep their grades up and are overall just great human beings. So we're proud to present the 3 that are not here. I have Lizzie Ballounis is our representative of Sturbridge. We have Layla Lemke is a representative of Wales, who's not here, and Evelyn Garfield is our representative of Brimfield. Who they were unable to make it today. They have very busy schedules, but we do have Casey Blyer. And we also have Claire Julian from Brookfield and Holland. I hope I have the 5 towns correct tonight. So I'm going to turn it over. They speak much better than me, and they're probably more entertaining. So Casey and Claire, I'll give you guys a chance to speak about your experience at Project 351 this year.
Hi, guys. Okay, so not a lot of people know what 351 is. It's basically an organization created about 13 years ago? Yeah, I think, around there. And it was founded to help the young generation create a better world and start helping people more. And it's created of all 351 towns in Massachusetts. And there's 1 representative of each town. We were split up into groups, and we made many friends over the launch day, where we helped people in our communities by Cradles to Crayons. What was yours?
Mine was for people with mental health.
Yeah, mental health baskets.
Yeah.
I think. And then there was another one where it was helping the homeless with baskets or supplies they need.
Yeah.
Food.
So basically, Project 351 has taught me and my classmates how to be leaders and do community service, even though we're only in 8th grade. For launch day, my group made blankets and cards for people who struggle with mental health. And then later on, we were all given opportunities to open clothing drives in our towns. We got a lot of support and encouragement through Project 351 with that. There were Zoom calls every week, and we just learned a lot from it.
And then, Claire was saying about the clothing drives, I was at the site where it was Cradles to Crayons, which, if you don't know what that is, it's where they collect clothes, toys, anything a kid would need that has clothing insecurities, and we collected those. My group sorted them, and then other groups sorted them by color, size. We did the rough sorting where it was kind of the stuff in the bags, kind of the nasty stuff. And then that's what we recently did a project on and collected clothes for.
There was also a reunion at Gillette. They did more service projects there, and there were even some Patriots players there, right?
Yeah.
It was really fun.
And then for our project, I collected at Holland Elementary School and this school, and that was us as a group effort with Ava, who is not here tonight. It was us 3. And then we also, with the clothing drive, we had to collect it for the Cradles to Crayons, and it helped them, and it's their biggest clothing drive of the year, so it helps them a lot. Help kids with clothing insecurities.
I got 20 bags of clothes from my church alone, and then we also all worked together here. And it was harder to count the bags because we used the huge bags, but there were a lot of clothes that we got.
I'd say about like 50 in total out of
Yeah.
those. 50 bags, about like 13 pounds.
Yeah.
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 Yes, and then there's also a 9/11 service. We haven't done it yet, obviously, but that will be coming up soon, so hopefully we can do that too. Okay, thank you.
One of the things I've done in Project 351 that it now becomes something like they have the 9/11 project, that they will not just do this for this one 8th grade year. If they choose to continue on, they can join leadership groups that stays. I believe the high school even has a club of Project 351 students. But with the state level, with Caroline Case, who runs the big organization, they can actually do these types of things from now through senior year, as much or as little as they're interested in doing. So, and as you can hear them speak, they just created that presentation in like 30 seconds before you put them on stage. So they're very well spoken, and we're very proud of you guys. So thank you very much for representing us.
Thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda is the reorganization for Union 61. The current chair is Laura Alden. The current secretary is Christine Randall. At this time, I will entertain nominations for the position of chair from Union 61 membership.
I'll nominate Laura Alden.
The nomination of Laura Alden, is there a second? Second. And seconded.
Could you tell me who those people are?
Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. At this time, we'll move forward with Laura Alden's name for the position of chair of Union 61. Those in favor from the union, please raise your yellow cards.
I don't put them high.
Can you put them up higher, please?
Yeah, at 10.
Any opposed? Any abstentions for the record? All right, seeing none, the motion carries unanimously. Congratulations, Mrs. Alden. At this time, I'll entertain nominations for the position of secretary.
I'd like to nominate Christine Randall for the position of secretary.
We have a motion to nominate Christine Randall. Is there a second?
Second.
She's been made and seconded. Any other nominations for the position of secretary? All right, seeing none, we'll close nominations. We'll proceed and move forward with the name of Christine Randall for the position of secretary. All those in favor from Union 61, please raise high your yellow cards.
I didn't vote for the first one.
You didn't vote on the first one as well. Any opposed? Any abstentions for the record? Seeing none, motion carries. Christine Randall, re-elected as secretary. All right, at this time, I'll entertain a motion for approval of the minutes for the regular session, November 18th, 2025 joint meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes as presented? Motion's been made by Mr. Haggerty. Is there a second? Second. Seconded by Mrs. Noyes Miller. Any discussion? Any edits? All right, hearing none, then we'll call the vote. All those in favor of the motion to approve the minutes for Tantasqua, please raise your green card.
I don't have my card,
Any opposed? Any abstentions for the record? One abstention. All right, at this time, we'll call the vote for Union 61. Those in favor of approval of the minutes, please raise your yellow cards. Opposed? Abstentions for the record? All right, with the votes counted, the motion carries for both Tantasqua and Union 61. The minutes are approved. All right, this time we'll transition to the district improvement plan update. This is Boyd?
Yeah, so that, it is in your packet, and it's just an FYI on the update. What we did was update pretty much with the same goals we've been working on for the last 3 or 4 years. This is gonna be the final year, where, as you'll see, as you saw in my goals, it's time for us to start from scratch and build the next district improvement plan, which is a process we'll go through next year, get everyone involved, that should be all the stakeholders. So this is just FYI, with the goals we've been working on, there's a few left. There's a few items, action items that we've updated to make sure they're in there, and things that will continue through the upcoming fiscal year, which is, Lord, fiscal '27. So just wanted to make sure you had this. This is what we'll close out, and then we will spend all of next year building the next 3 to 5 year district improvement plan.
Any questions on the district improvement plan for the superintendent? All right, seeing none, we'll transition to the next topic, which is the superintendent evaluation for 2025-2026. All right, so for this year, I'll go through the results with you. For this year, we had an 83% overall participation rate for both the Tantasqua and Union 61 school committees, 94% participation rate for Tantasqua. In terms of the goals, the focus on the MCAS math, that was universally agreed that progress had been made and we were on track. Graduation requirements, the goal was met. And a Review 360 was implemented, and that data will be used in the future to drive more data-driven action planning. Overall, the superintendent's evaluation reflected strong, consistent leadership and a very positive trajectory for the district. We had 27 of the 34 members participate. Some participate in both, for both the Union and Tantasqua. And the results were pretty consistent and pretty clear. A strong majority of ratings were at the exemplary level, with the remainder at the proficient, and no ratings below that. Across all 3 goals, the superintendent either met expectations or made meaningful progress, with particular strength in the development of the new graduation requirements and the successful rollout of the key district technical systems. The work on student achievement is on track, with final outcomes still pending. Just as important, the feedback consistently highlights the superintendent's steady leadership during a complex and challenging year, her focus on students, and her ability to effectively lead across multiple communities. At the same time, the evaluation did provide helpful guidance for continued growth, particularly around strengthening data use and data-driven outcomes, and ensuring ongoing communication about progress throughout the year as it relates to the goals. Taken together, it's a strong evaluation that reflects both high performance and a clear path for continued improvement. Some verbatims specific to the following categories. Relative to leadership and strength, Deb consistently guides the district through a wide range of challenges while keeping the well-being of students, staff, and the community at the center of every decision. She's been a steady voice, allowing educators to focus on teaching students and helping them develop as human beings. From a strategic work and progress perspective, the guidelines were very clear, thoughtful, and well-designed. There is strong evidence that the district is moving in a positive direction. Relative to overall impact, comments were Superintendent Boyd continues to go above and beyond, moving the district forward with tremendous knowledge and passion. We are very lucky to have such an experienced local leader. And then from a balanced and constructive perspective, there was feedback around, would appreciate an update on how the data is being used for students and for intervention. So overall, based upon the feedback from those of you that provided it, it would be my recommendation that we entertain a motion to grant the superintendent an exemplary rating for 2025 and 2026.
Second.
Motion's been made by Mr. Boyd, seconded by Mr. Goodwin. Is there any discussion? None? Okay. All right, with that, is there any objection to the motion? Hearing no objection, by unanimous consent, the motion carries. Congratulations, Deb.
Nice job.
All right, that takes us to the superintendent goals for 2026-2027. These have been socialized with the respective chairs. You'll see in your packet 3 proposed goals, again in consultation with Deb. One centered around student learning, to lead the districts in a review of AI, the good, the bad, and the ugly, to identify and plan for uses to embrace obstacles and potential impacts. The second is a district improvement / professional practice goal, to lead the process in creating a new district improvement plan, as Deb just indicated in her prior update, and to include a review of our mission and vision and develop new goals and action items for the next 3 to 5 years. And then third goal, student learning. This would require an amendment in November when the MCAS data becomes available, but we anticipate an additional student learning goal to be determined at that time relative to the results of the spring 2026 MCAS results. Any questions on the proposed 3 goals? Yes.
Hi. I just wanted to take a minute and just ask about the superintendent evaluation process. So just as many of you probably already know, the educator evaluation system in the state has started back in 2013 with educators, and we're required every year to create 2 SMART goals. We're supposed to create a student learning SMART goal as well as a professional practice goal. And so as part of DESE's creation of that process, they then created in 2019, the superintendent evaluation process. And so part of that is also to create SMART goals. And if you're not aware, the SMART goal acronym stands for specific, measurable, action-oriented, rigorous, and timed. So what my question here is we should really have some outlines of key actions and benchmarks, just so that way at the end of the school year, we can then use those to then evaluate properly. And when we have those key actions and benchmarks, we have that information. It shows what she's done to then go forward and do that evaluation. I think the topics of these goals are wonderful. I just want to make sure that we're going through the process properly.
I can assure you we are going through the process properly. We had a subcommittee that focused on how to make the evaluation process more streamlined a number of years ago. Up until that point, we had very low participation in the evaluation process, mostly because the process was very cumbersome. It wasn't really understood, and the timeline associated with what we were asking of committee members made it so that many committee members unfortunately weren't participating in the process. So at the time, Pat Barnacle and myself co-chaired an initiative to put in place a program that would give visibility to mutually agreed upon goals, which the state law does require. The superintendent has to agree to those goals. We can't just force them upon her. As well as put in place an evaluation mechanism that would, seek more participation, of which we have for the last 5 years hovered in the mid-80s to low 90s from a percentage of participation perspective. So I think we have made good progress there. We're always open to feedback. That feedback generally should be funneled through your local committees, through your chair. I do meet with the chairs to review the goals and ultimately put forward these recommendations. So we can always obviously improve upon the process, but I think we have a much better process today than we had historically, and we've done that in consultation with legal counsel, as well as ensuring that we meet the spirit of the law, as well as ensuring that we encourage active participation in the process, which I think that we've done.
Which is wonderful, and yes, I appreciate everyone's work on the committee, and that's, my goal is really just to, let's make these goals SMART as they should be, as educators are doing across the state.
All right, thank you. Further discussion? Yeah.
Can you tell me when you went through that process of streamlining the evaluations?
Years ago.
So,
Yeah.
this is, was
2019.
it Erin?
Yeah.
Well, it was actually
Exactly.
after.
Yeah.
It was post the law.
Yeah, I
Erin
was
was superintendent.
It was
Erin.
pre-me, but
Yeah.
we went through a number of years after the full teacher eval.
Right.
And I think 34 members struggled a bit going through each individual standard and the evidence. Also, there's 34 members as opposed to every educator, or the average school superintendent has 5. So I think that might have been part of the struggle, but it was absolutely based on the educator evaluation process. It was since the inception of that.
Oh, yeah.
But I think it was during Erin's
Yeah.
tenure. I
It
don't
was.
think it
It
was.
was.
I remember it
I
was very
chair.
So
cumbersome.
yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very cumbersome. It was just so much information that it just was really difficult for us to take that time. And participation was very low, I remember.
Yeah.
And working through this process, we've come up with something that's, I think, much better, much easier for us to go through and review and take the time where all of us are so busy to begin with. I think this process helped us better understand, and it's more descriptive of what you send us each year to help us review and know what we're doing. I think it's a really good job here.
Ed?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely remember that was a ridiculous, it was, you know, it was not only cumbersome in that it literally took hours. And to do it properly, you really had to actually come to the superintendent's office to leaf through what was then, I mean, we were, you know, paper, a lot of paper on the evidence. I mean, the one thing I just, you know, not wanting to return to anything like that, but what we have today, you know, seems a little bit too easy. In other words, you know, I don't know if it was 3 or 4 questions, but I kind of feel it shouldn't take me 4 or 5 hours, but it should. I kind of feel like it should take me more than 4 or 5 minutes. So I'm just saying, I'm not trying to invite pain on us all, but I think it is an annual opportunity to, you know, probe us, you know, not just for, you know, the very specific, look at this evidence, do you think that, you know, that this was met? And I kind of like, you know, you're testing my ability to interpret the, you know, this evidence. I kind of think we're not, you know, I think our value is, you know, that we're the eyes and ears in the community. You know, what are our perceptions? I think, you know, you could, you know, or what do we think, you know, how we're doing on this and that. Just literally perception questions wouldn't add a lot of time, but I think, you know, is a feedback opportunity. And, you know, and I'm not like coupling those kind of questions to do you get, you know what you get on your thing, but I think what we had historically was ridiculous. This is a little easy.
You could still request, and some of you do,
Yeah.
the proof, the
Yeah,
collateral.
I'm just thinking, I think we should be asked a few more questions in the Survey Monkey than just, I mean, it doesn't seem like.
I'm happy to have anybody submit questions you think should be included,
Yeah.
but I will remind you, we still can't get 100% of you to do it this way, so.
Well, yeah, we just had both things seem a bit, you know, their own extremes.
That's fair. Yep.
Just to, Krista, and Ed, we can bring it back to the boards too, I think that's a good idea. But the participation point is, if there's only 3 questions and the information is either you met or you didn't in that paragraph, maybe a lot of people just go, you know what, it doesn't matter, because it's already there. And I think those probing questions that they're asking teachers and they're going back, it may make sense to bring that kind of forward. Again, not to make it cumbersome, but make it worthwhile for somebody to log in and do it.
And if I may,
That's been my
yeah,
feedback.
and I mean, I'm happy to work with anybody if they have a desire to try and change it a little bit. Mike does, after each year, give me the comments, which are very important to me, and there absolutely have been times when there's a comment or a question or a concern that I've reached out to someone and tried to follow up with afterwards and understand. So those open areas, open slots there with comments are important to please use.
Yeah.
Actually, to that point, I was looking, you know, the first 2, I mean, I just didn't feel like the questions being asked, they were just, you know, it was just such a data interpretation. There was one question that I did give a comment, you know, it was a compliment, but, you know, again, I didn't feel probed at all.
Okay? Pro, yes.
I think the call for more rigor is worth considering, whether probing. And I think the suggestion, I think if I'm hearing you, is that these categories, these goals, and the impact are good, and they're spot on. And if we can go in the spirit of more data and metrics, consider maybe, if I'm hearing you right, having some benchmarks so we know if we are actually moving towards those goals with you. But this is very descriptive, it's very thorough, and it just, I think that's what you're saying.
Absolutely, yes.
And I think that there's value in that, so that when it comes time, whether we're being probed or not, that we know what we're measuring against, that is measurable. But something to think about.
So,
Yeah.
look, I will say this, that 2 times over the last 7 years since we instituted this model, we have set up a review committee, and I've solicited participation for that, and no one's stepped up. So, I will do that again, but you
Great.
have to step up.
Well, then, great, looking forward to it.
Deal?
And, you know, I mean, some of the challenges for myself and future is 6 separate school committees. And the elementary school committees are not as involved. So I've tried my best and can do better if needed to report out at the individual committees on things that are relevant. So for the elementaries, we make sure with all of our Tantasqua reps, we make sure that we report out how things were going on that graduation requirement goal, which really was disconnected to the elementary. But we've got to find ways of making sure you're aware as you go on that one. The flip side, I'm not sure if I ever reported out to Tantasqua about the math bridges, other than that it was happening, because that was really an elementary. So that is the other unique situation we have with 6 committees trying to come up with goals that work for everyone, so feedback's welcome.
Would it be helpful to put it on an agenda quarterly or
Update on goals? Sure. Absolutely.
if necessary?
Yep, yep, yep.
To build off Sam's point, you know, some of us are involved with MASC, and there are other regional districts that have 3, 4, 5 towns. Would it be helpful to see what they do in comparison? We might be doing some things really well. Would that be useful?
I'm happy to poke around. We don't have a lot of regions like us
We are unique.
that are 6
We are unique.
separate committees.
We are
The
absolutely
4 or
unique.
5 towns is still a regional school committee, K through 12 in most cases.
Still might
But
be useful.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep, and I certainly will continue to reach out to my peers, yeah.
And we did look at other
Yeah.
models.
Yeah,
And in
that-
fact,
that was
our
the
model was
problem back
adopted by
then.
MASC.
Yeah.
And used, and we did a training on it,
Yeah.
because other districts hadn't developed a similar model. So
Yeah.
it's certainly obviously time to reevaluate and potentially
Absolutely.
refresh.
Absolutely.
But again, if we set up a review committee to do that, I need people to join it.
Yep.
So keep that in mind. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for your feedback. I appreciate it. Again, I'm not trying to make it more difficult for anyone or just be that person. You know, again, as educators, we are responsible for creating those key actions and benchmarks. At the end of every school year, our evaluators come to us and say, give me your evidence, give me your proof that you've met this goal. And so I think it'll be more meaningful for us when we go to evaluate at the end of the school year and say, okay, here's her benchmark, she met them, here's the data to prove it, okay, she did great, like, you know, we've made progress. And so that's really the reason why I brought that up tonight, so thank you.
Great. Further discussion? Yeah.
I just wanted to suggest, I love the idea of a review committee and everything's been suggested here, and I think, given that we have the charting the course training coming June 20th for anyone who's able to participate, that might be a good opportunity to get a refresher on what MASC thinks about the superintendent evaluation and goal setting process, and maybe that would spur any ideas for a review of both of those processes.
Great. You'll report out in September when you, at our next meeting?
Sure.
Okay.
Would we need are you gonna put together an ad hoc committee, or?
I'm happy to form it. I can't have an ad hoc committee if I'm the only one on it, so.
It's a very ad hoc committee.
I've asked twice before over the last 7 years and no one's had an interest, so
A lot of hot.
I'm happy to.
A lot of hot, but not like that.
Happy to do that.
Thank you.
Great. Further discussion on the goals as presented? Yeah.
I can understand where you're coming from, where, you know, if you attend 2 meetings a year and then you get that email, it can be like, you know, it's not a lot of information. I would encourage every member to take the initiative to attend other meetings, including the subcommittees. We talk about these goals, they're talked about in curriculum, they're talked about at the bylaws. She's a part of that at every meeting and every subcommittee. You can get a lot of information, and they're all posted, the agendas are posted, you know, they're public to everyone. I would encourage that, if you're looking for more information as well, to be a part of the process throughout the year.
Yes.
Hopefully I can articulate this question, but with regard to the student learning goal and AI, and I just read this now for the first time, but it looks like this is geared towards, kind of making sure there isn't abuse from students, using AI for assignments and things like that, and plagiarism and so on. But I just wanted to make sure that there was some way that we're trying to keep an eye on, like, impacts of AI, with regard to the children's futures
Yeah.
and
No,
jobs
and I
and
mean,
stuff.
literally, there's a reason for calling it the good, the bad, and the ugly, because the AI's got a lot of good, positive use. If we're gonna prepare our children to go forth, it's gonna be involving AI. So there are a lot of branches, I think, to this task force. You've got absolutely at all levels to be able to look at how can we incorporate AI into the classroom and use it effectively. You've got the age-old, we're worrying about cheating. Well, then how do we use AI without being concerned about constant? And at what point in time are we not worried about cheating because we need to be using AI? But also, we don't have any policies. We have no official policies. We have protocols and processes that we're starting to use a little bit, especially in the high school, and it's trickling down. So we do need policies, protocols, and they are to appropriately educate and use, but also what do we do when misused? It's not only in the educational, unfortunately, I've absolutely had a couple of instances this year of very inappropriate use of AI outside of the classroom that is filtered in to the school and classroom and has created a lot of legal issues. And we need to have conversations about what potential consequences are in certain cases. So I'm hoping to have a number of different branches of this. There's a lot of things involved that we need to start and trying to corral a little bit.
Plus, it changes every day.
It does, it does.
I mean, I live in this world,
Yeah,
so I
it's
see it.
never gonna be a black and white, if this, then that. But we've gotta start trying to, and not always, it's both. We don't wanna always talk like it's bad, but we also need to acknowledge there are negative uses and what are the consequences gonna be? What's a reasonable consequence?
You need a governance structure, which
Yep.
you're looking to develop as a part of this, which is why I think the way it was outlined about how do we embrace it, how do we, avoid the potential issues that it creates, and then what are those impacts is important. Which is, I think.
Yeah, no, we need to
part of what the
embrace.
focus is. I mean, look at, in the next couple of years, no one's getting a job that isn't leaning into AI in general. I mean, I see it now in my world. I mean, if you aren't interested in leaning in on AI, you're not going to be around very much longer. So it's incumbent upon us to prepare these kids for college and then the workforce, because this is not going away.
Yeah, because my question, actually the question is like, so this review which is being, conducted by staff, what role do, the committees, because ultimately, this leads up to a whole bevy of policy questions, and, which is.
So do you mean what is the output of this goal?
Yeah, and the output and I don't think there's much more impactful, that's going to be impactful than how we, in terms of the students' future success, than how we approach this. And and the right answer is anything but clear. And so now I can see so. I mean, we don't have the we're still doing the thinking and the research, but eventually we're going to be making policy. Now on the Tantasqua side, there's policy committee. There's no such thing in Union 61, but the thing is, AI is a K-12 issue,
Yeah.
very much so. I just wanted to, talking about ad hoc committees, we might want to think, we might not want to have a policy think subcommittee that actually, spans the two committees to,
Well, that might be one of the
Yeah.
recommendations that comes out
Anyway,
of the
and by the way,
superintendent's review. I think we're asking her to put together a point of view.
Yeah.
And some proposed structure around this, and that's going to include
yeah,
a role.
because it's not just the opportunities which you reference, but, how to avoid, how to make sure that, our kids have the skills, including the ones that we grew up with, make sure they don't, lose that so they don't get steamrolled, later on. So there's, yeah. And by the way, if anything along that line gets formed, I do volunteer for that.
Yeah, no,
Because I'm doing-
we're gonna need school committee members, we're gonna need students,
Right.
Unfortunately, I've got two goals
Yeah,
that actually are all encompassing,
yeah.
because your district improvement plan absolutely should include community members, school committee members, staff, and students. And for sure, I don't want them to be the same people, because it's a lot, we're gonna burn folks out, but our stakeholders are the same group.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Motion been made by Mrs.
Second.
Miller, seconded by Mr. Boyce to accept the goals as presented. Is there any objections? All right, hearing none by unanimous consent, the motion carries. When I do send out a communication for standing subcommittees to Tantasqua, I'll also send out a communication relative to the superintendent goal review. Great. All right, thank you. All right. At this time, we're going to be moving into executive session. While we go through the process of taking that motion, I would invite anybody that is not a voting member of both the Tantasqua and Union 61 to please depart this room into the cafeteria. We will come get you when we're ready for you. All right, with that, I'll request a pass. With that, I'll request a motion to enter into executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, subsection 3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining. All right, now that the executive session has concluded, at this time, I would entertain a motion to authorize both the chair of Tantasqua and the chair of Union 61 on behalf of both the Tantasqua and Union 61 school committees to approve and sign the contract between the Tantasqua Union 61 school committees and the superintendent of schools, Mrs. Deborah Boyd, for effective June 1st, 2026. Motion has been made by Mr. Binsky, seconded by Mr. Goodwin. Any discussion? Any objections? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, the motion carries. We have a contract with our superintendent. We did we added the Hotel California clause, so you can never check out. All right, final item on the agenda is a reminder, as Mrs. Lammer O'Kane indicated, we do have a Charting the Course offering here at Tantasqua on June 20th, 2026. For those committee members that have not gone through that program, it'll be sponsored by MASC, and you can sign up on the MASC website. I did check the other day, and it is on their calendar, so it is available and I believe free for you to register if you are interested. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the joint meeting.
So moved.
This has been made by Mr. Haggerty, seconded by Mr. Goodwin. Those in favor from Tantasqua, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Those in favor from Union 61, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries by both Tantasqua and Union 61. Have a wonderful summer. Those of you on the Tantasqua School Committee meeting, we will begin in less than 5 minutes.
I am
All right, a quorum being present, we'll call the meeting of the Tantasqua Regional School Committee to order at 6:54 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I do it.
Yeah.
This is my 30 seconds of fame. Here we go.
Turn the meeting over to Mrs. Boyd for the purposes of reorganization.
Drag this out.
You're dragging it a lot longer than your cookies.
Right already. Yes, we need to reorg, and I only get to ask for any nominations for the chair for the upcoming year.
Second.
We have Mike Valenzola. Anyone other than Mike Valenzola nominated? Hearing no other ones, I see no need for the written ballot. So all in favor of Mike Valenzola for another year as the chair? Say aye. Aye. All opposed? Over to you, sir.
You really did drag that. We haven't had a paper ballot
I
in a long
was,
time.
I was waiting for a Haggerty, I don't know.
That was, if you recall, the last time we had the paper ballot, well, that was quite,
Long time
that was
now.
quite a meeting.
It's been a while, but we've had a long time.
of people
It has. All right, over to you.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Boyd, and thank you very much to my colleagues. I appreciate the opportunity to continue to serve.
But it's not on the agenda, so we
Oh,
can't do it.
but you know what, it's not, is it not on the packet?
It's
She
not on
sent
the
an
packet.
I don't have the
updated one.
She sent an update.
Do you all recall, she sent an updated
She
email?
circulated it.
That's right, she sent the email the
We
day
caught it
after.
after it went out.
Packets were already in the mail, but it is posted.
You did see the updated.
Yes, I did see the
You
email.
saw it, right?
But that's
Yeah.
not the one I printed.
Packet was in the mail, but the posting went out.
All right, at this time, I'll entertain nominations for the position of vice chair. Mr. Haggerty.
I'd like to nominate Andrew Dunn for vice chair.
Second.
Nomination and a second of Andrew Dunn. I've never called you Andrew.
You're the only one I'm in trouble.
He's in trouble.
That works.
Are there any other nominations for the position of vice chair? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. Those in favor of the nomination of Andrew Dunn will say aye. Aye. Opposed? Congratulations.
I like Andrew H. Dunn personally.
I'll do my best.
Before we transition to the next nomination for secretary, I just want to take a moment. Mr. Haggerty has been at my side as vice chair my entire tenure as chair. He's been a mentor, a friend to me personally, but also a phenomenal representative of his community and a great steward of public education. I simply cannot imagine my time over the last 15 or so years without Bill. I will miss you greatly in that role, but I'm thrilled you'll be continuing your service here on the committee. And I don't think, we say it enough, Bill, but everything you've done over the years, you've been an absolute treasure on this committee and a wonderful friend to all of us, and we're forever grateful for your service.
If you would write that down and send it to my wife.
I'll let her
You
know.
have to watch it on the.
Make sure to fill Andrew.
You're gonna continue to mentor me, right? Starting with wardrobe.
No one dresses as good as Bill.
That's a couple years to learn.
All right, at this time, I'll accept nominations for the position of secretary. Yes, Mr. Hager.
I'd like to nominate Sheila Noyes Miller, and now that I remember her name.
I'll second.
The nomination of Sheila Noyes Miller. Are there any other, it's been seconded, are there any other nominations? Hearing none, we'll close nominations. We'll move the nomination of Sheila Noyes Miller to the floor. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Ayes have it, motion carries. Madam Secretary.
job.
All
I
right.
sit here,
At this time, I'll accept the approval of the regular session meeting minutes for April 29th, 2026 as presented. This has been made by Mrs. Noyes Miller. Seconded by Mr. Goodwin. Is there any discussion or edits? Seeing none, the chair will call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion to approve the minutes for the regular session of April 29th, 2026 will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Are there any abstentions for the record? Three. Or four.
Oh, boy.
Who wasn't here? Oh, it's not.
I think it's a meeting we barely squeezed in,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
sweating bullets over, yeah.
Coaching baseball, sorry.
I have thought.
Yeah. Executive session. I think it was for the unit,
Yes.
the
Yeah, okay.
memorandum.
This time I'll entertain a motion to accept, approve, and permit the release of the executive session meeting minutes of April 29th, 2026.
So moved.
Motion's been made by Mrs. Noyes Miller, seconded by Mr. Goodwin. Discussion? Edits? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, will say nay. Abstentions for the record. With that, the motion carries. Brings us to our financial report. Mrs. Leo.
Spending and revenues are about where we expect them to be for this time in the year. We are moving towards the end of the year with a furious pace. If anybody has specific questions outside of those we've discussed in past meetings, I'm more than happy to.
Questions on the financial report? Thank you, Mrs. Leo. We have no student representatives with us tonight, but we'll be recognizing them Thursday at class night. But Mrs. Lamoureux-Kane wanted to give an update.
Sure, so Eric and I had met with the Student Advisory Council on last Tuesday, May 19th, for the every other month meetings that we've been trying to have with the Student Advisory Council at Tantasqua. There were 5 students, 2 tech, two tech, 3 academic, and 3 juniors and 2 sophomores. And the conversation revolved around, first of all, their schedules had just come out, and so they were grumbling a little bit, or hearing grumblings in the halls about schedules, and we talked a little bit about limitations of some scheduling options with block scheduling and being a tech student and those sorts of things that surface that we've all been aware of. And then we also talked about a lot of the events and extracurricular activities that happen that they're having a hard time getting attendance for, or fundraisers that they're struggling to get involved in. And we're wondering if there are communication issues or maybe mentorship issues where some adults could guide them and say, this hasn't really worked in the past, or we've done this the past 5 years, maybe it's time to retire that event. And then finally we talked about the elimination of the advisory period, and they were not happy with that. And they thought that was, advisory had been a useful time to dispense like important announcements and information, and a way for them to get students to fill out surveys or to engage students in some feedback sessions. So Eric, do you have other things you want to talk about?
I mean, there was a little bit more about like recurring themes from the previous meeting I've been to, where it sounds like there's concern about a lot of when there's new rules that come down to it. It seems like everybody, it's a one-size-fits-all, like everybody's paying for the price of a few knuckleheads. And so like the bathroom was a major concern. And there was a little bit about community stuff that we talked about previously that bled through again in this one again about like feeling disconnected, and some of that was also part and parcel with like the engagement level with some of the activity, whether it's fundraising or just other stuff. But I mean, the schedule was once again like a major concern.
And there was an amazing brunch spread out for us, so if you're tempted to go next year, but certainly.
Heard the food.
It was fantastic, yes. A very nice time, and the students
A lot
were
better than the
very,
food here tonight.
you know,
Maybe an omelet.
I know. Yes,
Yeah.
omelet station, yeah. So we look forward to Dr. Dufresne scheduling next year's meetings for us, and they all were interested in participating again next year, so it's a good sign.
That's awesome. Great, great update. Anything you want to add to that, Pete?
I think the group itself is great. I think it's wonderful that as school committee members, you're interacting directly with the students, and so you can hear some of those concerns from them. They're a terrific group of students, and we're just sort of commenting on ways to expand it at a conversation just today with Ms. Laval on how we can sort of expand, sort of make that group a little larger and more diverse, so you can really get even more of those things. And we've heard a lot of those same things, and have been banging our heads against the wall using different tools and techniques to sort of work around it. The schedule is, block schedules. So.
So now, are the because again, like, if anybody, I'm sure, Mike understands this, if you've been to any kind of retrospective in the corporate world or whatever, you just keep rehashing the same things over and over again without any action, progress being taken on it. It's just like, what's the purpose of the meeting? So like, the expectation is that we will start trying to take some of the feedback and work with that, and show them how to work with trying to say like, well, are these things that we can bring up where we need to problem solve, on it. So it isn't just like, hey, everybody come join the Tuesday complaint club because they've got omelets.
Which is not awful.
Yeah, I know, I mean, it could be worse.
We have a student town hall tomorrow to get some of that feedback. Some of the things like the schedule are tied up in contracts. I will not ever defend the block schedule. I taught in the block. I hate the block. It gives students 4 chances a year to do 4 chances a day. They've got, as opposed to say a 5-period day with 60-minute blocks, right? Doesn't sound like a lot, but one additional chance in the day to take a class is impactful. What happens is, though, once we start to try and break those things up, you're up against time and learning. Not that these are excuses, time and learning buses, and more specifically, unit contracts to break. Once you go to a unit contract that says, you have this long for prep, this long for lunch, this long for course time and direct instruction, if I could wave a magic wand and make a different schedule, I would. It's something that we've talked about probably since the second day I got here and realized we had a block schedule.
Well, I've expressed my love for it.
Oh, yeah, you and I have talked about it. And everyone sees things my way eventually, but it's taken a long time.
We purposely didn't tell you about it in your interview.
Well, I just chuckled because on day 3, he was like, I love scheduling. I'm great at scheduling. I'm like, all right, yeah. There you go. Here we go. And again, the challenge actually, for good reason, but the challenge, they're just deeper because very much block scheduling is connected to our technical school, which keeps growing. So we're not 30% technical. We're getting close to 50% technical. So it's the same conversations, only bigger.
Right.
Yeah.
And we have so many hours that the students have to receive too to make you that omelet. Like they have to be in there so.
No, but while you were talking, I remembered a couple of other concerns that also feeds off that they did mention is like, there was some like style of instruction and quality of life, basically, work-life balance. In that, like, the tech students were saying like, wow, we learn hands-on stuff all the time. And the academic students were like, it's 84 minutes of you are listening to me talk. And then the amount of homework that is, which I concur with, like, if you have an 84-minute class, why has my kid got 2 hours worth of homework? Someone's doing something wrong.
But like the advisory is a great thing that we could make a change to, like immediately. Like, so if that, those are easier things for us to bring back, and you had already spoken about bringing the advisory back. Fundraising, we can certainly address that. Those are two smaller items, you know, that we could make better for them more quickly. The schedule, again, is a little bit more difficult, but not that we're neglecting it, but it's definitely a bigger task.
I have a question. What was the issue with the restroom?
So it's probably, that's probably
I wasn't at
us.
the, we aren't,
I'm assuming
I'm
it's
asking
because
our
when we, it could be twofold, right? So at lunchtime, we were having some issues where we don't have other staff other than administrators at lunch duties. So some days when we're pulled in different directions, if there's only 2 or 3 of us in there for 3 lunches, it's 2 hours of our day. It's an extensive amount of time. We've been sending students to the single stall bathrooms. It eliminates students down away from our line of sight, and then it eliminates how long they're in there for, and then any other nefarious activities they might be doing in there. So that could be one complaint. The other is that if we have any inappropriate things happening in a bathroom, we'll lock it down, which we have to do. And it's not all day, it's temporary. So I don't know if they're referencing prior
It was
years.
access. There were kids who were saying, like, I don't even go to the bathroom in school anymore because it's so difficult, or I'm not allowed to, I can't leave class and do, and that was the thing that was really concerning.
So
And,
that's
I had a daughter
drastic
who said the same
exaggeration. We
thing.
don't
there's no
tell
one.
kids they can't go to
we-
the bathroom.
We don't.
That's a
don't
violation of
restrict
their
that.
civil rights. We would
Yeah,
never do
because my daughter
that.
said the same thing. She was having, and she ended up in the hospital with a kidney infection because she wasn't going to the bathroom
So
when she was at school.
we have students
So-
that don't want to use the bathroom during passing time.
Yeah.
That's probably the
Passing
most.
is like going from class to class?
Yes.
Oh, because you only have a
Um,
certain amount of time to go.
You
You
do,
get
and
6
it's
minutes.
busier, and you're like, I'm
1,200
gonna get to the
students.
4th floor.
And
Yeah.
then
massive
you do have
gang
people that
bathrooms.
do bad things, right? So
We do occasionally have students not just use the bathroom, yeah.
Yeah.
That's a
So-
hard thing, I think, to deal with.
But we have other
I'm just saying, like,
options.
when you have a form, like, ask, like, what's your beef with the bathroom?
Yeah, and I mean, you're looking at 6
So we do,
students.
these are the
Yeah,
issues that
exactly.
come up at our student town
Yeah.
halls as well.
Yeah. But just so you know, if they don't want to share with us, and they certainly don't have to, but we have a couple other options, which we've always invited students to do, is one is they can always access the health office. Some students feel safer going there. And then we have the gender neutral bathrooms as well. I've given out, plenty of keys to students that are like, I'm really uncomfortable in this large bathroom. Is there any other option for me? So if students have an immediate issue, most of them feel comfortable going to a school counselor, who will then in turn reach out to an administrator.
So I think it might be good if those school committee members that have attended, if you'd be willing to send me an email with, kind of your perspective on the actions and or the areas of exploration that you think require follow-up. I'll pull all that together and then we can share it back to make sure we've captured everything, and then share that with the administrators and, maybe have a further conversation. I want to be cautious that we're not getting to the point where the school committee is evaluating our principals publicly, so that would be, I think, my recommendation on next steps. And I know
We were
that-
doing that,
Ask
sorry.
anything.
I know that some of you have attended multiple, some of you maybe have been to one, but if you provide that feedback, I'll put together a consolidated summary. Actually, all day I do it. Great. All right, with that, we'll move to our staff reports. Mr. Sturgis.
All right, well, we had our Project 251 students up earlier. Last Friday, we did host our annual Memorial Day ceremony, which was as good as ever, I think. The feedback has been extremely positive. We had a new staff member who just started back in October, who is a military veteran, who was our keynote speaker, and gave an excellent speech. And she's a parent of kids in district as well, so she was pretty well known to the kids, so it was a pretty good impact. I've had a bunch of parents, including Claire's dad, who just left, who was here and who was thanking us for the actual ceremony itself. State Representative Todd Smola came again. He spoke as well. He typically sets that aside to be here. I don't think he's missed one in my 8 years here, minus COVID year. So he comes, even when I know right now time is busy for them. So All in all, it was a great ceremony. Shout out to Mr. Brozick and Miss Moore and our band and chorus. They're better and better every year, and even if the program doesn't change, they're just so good at it. They were very close to having the Space Force song ready to go, but they didn't have it this year. So next year, Joe says we'll be ready for that. And another big one that we had was our school play back in April, Dinner in Oz. There was a lot of delays because they missed a lot of practices between January and March. Seemed to be either a snow day or a no after school activity day because of snow on Tuesdays and Thursdays only for them. So we had to push it back to late April, early May, but a little twist, a little comedic twist of middle school kids on The Wizard of Oz. It was an excellent two-night performance. We have our Civics MCAS on Thursday, which will wrap up our testing season, thank God. And so that usually brings us to what feels like it's the beginning of the end, when the end testing ends May. And I listed on my report just a whole bunch of activities. We do have our yearly Public Safety Day tomorrow here. We're all local PD. For our drones, we have scheduled 2 helicopters to land on the front field, and we've only had 1 year where they had an actual emergency where they couldn't come. Shame on them, they should plan better, but they just kidding. They were here last year, and it was pretty cool to watch them come in and land. Kids all love it, and then the police will use their drones. Of police dogs, the UMass security guards, state police, SEMLAC, the local police SWAT team will be here as well. So it'll be a fun day, as well as our band and chorus students are going on their, our 8th grade band and chorus are going on their Six Flags field trip tomorrow as well. So, and there's a million things happening in June. If you have any questions, I know that I listed them out.
Questions for Mr. Sturgis? Thank you, Mr. Sturgis. Ms. Rovato, technical report.
Yes, we have a million things going on this week in Clear Lake with the seniors. So I just wanted to give a quick kind of recap of all the shops, just a couple quick highlights. So in IT, Gail Espinoza successfully had 5 seniors pass the security plus CompTIA first try. So we're super proud of them. It's very difficult to pass that on the first try, and 5 of them did, so we are ecstatic about that, so that's great news. In carpentry, we did connect with one of the building projects. Tim and I will be meeting with her next week, and we're hoping that she will sign the contract. The trail is almost done, and then our juniors are making great progress. They're almost done with the deck project as well. In electrical, quite frankly, I can't really keep up. They are here, there, and everywhere. They're at every school.
Mostly with.
And mostly Wales. They're working with us, but they've done an excellent job. I'm very excited about the new staff member in there that took over for a retiree. He's doing an excellent job as well. And the juniors will now be going out with the senior teachers, select groups of them, to finish jobs that are kind of still lingering at this point. In culinary, I can't say enough. Every time we ask Chef L, can you do this? He is always willing. They were extremely busy last week. It was bumping on that Friday with Bobby's big celebration.
Oh, yes.
They did a huge cake, and then they hosted Bobby Collins' family in the Cornerstone. It was a wonderful day. Genuinely, culinary and hospitality are always willing to go the extra mile. In CAD, proud to report that they are using those MakerBot 3D printers. They're not just sitting there, which sometimes when you get that new equipment, it becomes a little intimidating. Maybe you don't know how to use it. I went in there the other day, and all of the MakerBots were active, and it was great to see the kids using them. Advanced manufacturing, they have the new Z-Space computers, and both of those teachers will be starting professional development training this week on those new Z-Space computers. I'm really excited to see that. It's like a virtual reality for the advanced manufacturing curriculum. And then in business tech, we enlisted a sophomore student to work with the celebration for the town, the 250th anniversary. He did some great work with social media, and unfortunately, due to a rescheduled baseball game, he was not able to attend. and take all the photos, but he did a great job leading up to the project. Hospitality, I think, did a great job on our trial year delivering to the junior high. We have a couple students excited to take over that role next year. And then finally, in health careers, we had our pinning ceremony last week. 6 students passed their CNAs. It was an excellent event. Nina, Caitlin, and Julia do a wonderful job celebrating that difficult journey that those students take. Really proud of that. So it's been great. And Noah was very happy to be here the other night. He's very excited to give a speech at graduation as the tech valedictorian, and he is even more excited to head to Atlanta for the Skills USA National competition. That's pretty much it.
That's awesome. Any questions? Dr. Dufresne?
So we are right in the thick of getting the seniors to graduation. Prom went off great at Mass Mutual Center. Superintendent Boyd joined us for a while, although there was no dancing that I observed. Students are going on the senior trip to Brownstone tomorrow, and graduation will be on Saturday. And as I joked earlier, I'm pretty sure sometimes the only reason I get invited to the May meetings, I have some tickets to distribute. So that is going well. We're very excited to see off the class of 26. I was invited to Skills USA. I know you mentioned Noah Clark. I'd never been to that outstanding MABA dinner. It was very nice. And Jamie actually got me out of the building, and I went to go see the actual Skills USA competition. And it is very impressive if you ever have a chance to go. They take over an entire high school, inside and out. I don't know what they would have done if it was raining, because I think half the events were out in the parking lot. But students building the whole houses in a couple of days. It was very impressive, and on my list to go to next year. Our department spotlight is English. Our English department is one of our larger, more active departments in the building. They had 2 main goals this year: look at MCAS data and develop our own benchmarks, particularly with freshmen and sophomores, so that we can have an accurate predictor of success on the MCAS. And then we've been sort of dabbling with AI for a couple of years now, sort of using offense and defense. How can it help us? And then how can we defend against the ease of use of it that would result in any kind of academic dishonesty? The English department's been leading that discussion and doing a great job. We've got a few things we're looking at to coincide with the superintendent's district level AI study next year. We had a lot of different events. I won't go into all of them, but just know that your students, we do a cross-curricular field trip to the American Heritage Museum with English and History, which is a terrific, if you haven't been, it's and you're a fan of history at all, it really is a terrific drive out there and worthwhile. Amy Willard, who, if you've been to any of the Rotary events, she's our Interact student leadership advisors. She brought and is bringing the club. There are 26 members. They are hoping to go on a couple of more leadership events next year. Zip over to student council because Ben bailed on me here. We sent 20 delegates from our student council to the annual Central District Leadership Conference at Medfield High School. And from May 4th through 8th, we held our annual Teacher Appreciation Week. Student council was great. From setting up notes, they did adult superlatives, which some were a riot, some were a little on the nose. Then they hung those up in the hallway so all the teachers could see them as they came through. Our performing arts schedule is kind of wrapping up for the year as we get closer and closer to the end. And our athletic teams as well are wrapping up. Today it's girls lacrosse, boys lacrosse, and then softball are still in the running right now. And then our seniors of the month are there in the last page, and Mr. Votto and I couldn't choose between two, so we gave up our parking spots. And we picked three because it was the last month and there were 3 kids, so we couldn't settle. And that's the high school.
Can I confirm? Breakfast, Friday?
I would love to confirm breakfast on Friday.
Is it, is it in the snack shack?
To keep the health people happy, we're gonna do it back in the cafeteria.
Okay.
Our local health board
Okay.
has strongly
So we are
recommended.
serving breakfast burritos, I think,
I would desperately love if you would serve breakfast burritos to the students,
and ice cream.
anyone who would like to
Because
come.
we're not bringing, we gave up the pizza, but we won't give up the ice
You
cream.
won't give up the ice cream, and they gave,
Ice
I didn't
cream
think
for
it was gonna
breakfast.
go with the breakfast sandwiches
Yep,
last year, and it went.
well, didn't it?
It
Yeah,
went.
great.
So it'll
Field-
be in the cafeteria, what time, is it
Eight-
after the
eight.
practice or before?
So it's before practice, it gets them there, if you feed them,
So it's in early.
yeah, if you feed high school students, they do stuff for
I'm
you.
sorry, I'm
So-
sorry, Mr. Haggerty.
Uh,
What time were you hoping we would be serving?
8 o'clock?
You'd be surprised.
8 a.m.?
Well, they're supposed to be there
Practice
by
starts.
8:30. If practice starts at 8:30, so they'll show up between probably 8:15 and 8:30.
Yes, and then we'll start at like 8:45, herding them out.
So anyone interested in helping serve and say hello to the seniors, 8 a.m. at the cafeteria?
It was really nice, or whenever you get there, but I'll be hustling and moving them around about 8.
Great.
It's funny how quickly they slip into their summer mode. They're like,
Yeah, I
"You're
know.
like, "We've been getting here at 7.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
And graduation is 11 o'clock.
Graduation's at 11 o'clock, the weather looks terrific, so
Optimism is always a plus.
this field is already set up, so
Awesome.
we are just in the fine tuning stages now.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Dufresne. Questions for Dr. Dufresne? Yes, Mrs. Alden.
I want to thank you for specifically putting the curriculum connections with the field trips. I really enjoy seeing that. Sometimes I feel like they take them and you're like, how is this educational? With that, Mr. Sturgis, could you explain how Canopy Lake and Adventure Park ties into our curriculum?
Well, Adventure Park is a team building thing for the 8th graders, like their send-off, where they go to the high school where it gets all serious over there.
Okay.
And
Clearly you haven't been there.
And Canopy Lake is a fun trip for the end of the year. We had a bunch of team building things throughout the year that we no longer do in 7th grade, so it was meant to be a kind of a fun trip at the end of the year, wrap up the school year, so.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you both.
Exercise.
I'll give you a guide
Also,
answer.
getting those.
The ropes course has a.
Physics.
Thank you, Principal.
We should go to Worcester Red Sox game and talk about the physics of the fastball and curveball.
We'll move to subcommittee reports, budget.
No meeting. I believe the budget's been passed in 2 towns, and we got 3 meetings next week.
Tuesday,
Yep.
Wednesday, Thursday, 3
Right.
town meetings in a row.
So Wales, Holland, and Brookfield are all next week. So hopefully it will continue as it has in
From
Brookfield and
tomorrow, it's a week
Sturbridge.
from tomorrow, not tomorrow. You're
It's
behind.
next week.
All right.
Not the current.
You're the
week,
moderator, you
following.
might want to get it right.
The first week of June.
Technical,
No meeting.
curriculum,
No meeting.
bylaw and policy,
Meeting.
meeting. Some proposals.
Yes, we met on May 6th and reviewed both bylaws and policies. Our policies were bringing forward from last month to adopt on second reading with no changes since last month. It is JLC1, the wellness policy, and BBB, school committee officers. And we also reviewed the bylaws for our committee, and we have 2 small changes we are proposing. Under section 3, open meeting law, this kind of hinges from what we did last month. We just amended the wording a little bit, so it says all meetings of the committee and subcommittees shall be held in accordance with Massachusetts open meeting law. and then striked out as amended. And under subcommittees, we added a sentence to say the chair or designee is responsible to report out to the full committee at the next scheduled meeting. And these are just to make our subcommittee meetings come more fully into compliance with the open law and the way that we conduct it.
All right, so we'll take the unfinished business up first. We've got two proposals before you, JLC1 and BDB, both amended on second reading. It's the recommendation of the Bylaw Policy Subcommittee. Doesn't require a second. We'll bring it to the floor for consideration. Is there any discussion? Any objections? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, the motion carries. Transition to the new business item. We will bring to the floor, as it doesn't require a second because it's a recommendation of the subcommittee, the proposed amended changes to the Tantasqua Regional School Committee bylaws. Any discussion? Any objections? No objection? Hearing none, by unanimous consent, the motion carries. Anything
Is that
else?
first and second, the bylaw changes, or is that a two-thirds vote? I don't recall. Is it a first and second? Do we know for sure? I think it's just a two-thirds and one.
Yeah, well, it's unanimous.
Good, okay. I just want to make sure we're not going to see it on the next one it's done. Okay, great.
All right, we'll come back to the committee reports. No negotiations, building and physical plant. No meeting, no report. Superintendent Boyd.
Not a lot more. It's certainly about graduation and all the year-end activities. It's not only about the seniors, even though they certainly think it is. And that's okay. We're going to let them think it for a little bit longer. Yeah, 2 down. Technically for Tantasqua, I love all my towns, but we only need 2 out of the 3 that are left, and we'll have a budget. I know for sure I have seen 1, 2, and had communications on the 3rd, so I don't anticipate any problems with any of them. I think we'll be all set with the budget. Other than that, is, as I've mentioned to a few before, rural aid seems to be the political football of the legislative season this year. I'm optimistic that the Senate is going to catch the football and bring us home with a little bit more than we have this year. But there was an attempt in the House, even though they brought it down. The initial budget in the House is half of what the governor wanted. And there was 1 or 2 amendments on the floor that did not pass. So I've had a couple of conversations with Representative Smoller while we're getting ready to walk into the memorial. How's it going? Yeah, but, you know, it's politics. It's politics. And unfortunately, even when some of our legislators sign that they support an amendment, they're not voting when the time comes. So there is a big push to try and make more votes, roll call votes, so that people can be called out if they don't support something they said they were going to. I'm hopeful that the Senate is back up. Their initial budget was where the governors were. So they're going into I'm having a brain freeze. Conference. They're going to conference 3 and 3. I think it's going to end well, because when they go to compromise, the folks on the conference committees are supportive of rural aid for the most part. So I think we'll end up okay. Of course, obviously, we want at least what we have this year to be comfortable with our budget. I think we'll end up with a little more. There's also still conversations about supplemental fiscal 26, putting more rural aid in to get it back to what it was last year. Of course, you tell me that in May or June, it pretty much is meaning more money that will roll over to 27. So we'll take that when it comes. But that, I'm still going with optimism there. I think we'll be okay. And my only last comment of sadness and joy is that this is the last school committee meeting that you will formally see Jamie Robato as the interim tech director. We did report to you in the past. She's chosen to stay in the wonderful role of assistant principal. And we have we have hired a replacement, George Scobie, who has history at Bay Path, many years, and where is, say that again?
Lower Pioneer Valley.
Lower Pioneer right now. So he will start July 1, and he will be under the close tutelage of Ms. Roboto. So we hope to see her again, but thank you so much for everything you did this year. And I'm not too worried, because I know Jamie's still over there, so everything that she has presented to you is going to be kept tip-top.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jamie. All right, we'll move to communications. There's the SWCL Q3 report, which was distributed electronically, MASS letter to the governor, and my favorite, and I just loved watching the coverage on WBZ, the wonderful coverage of Mr. Bobby Collins.
Such a wonderful.
Who worked there when all of us were there too.
Yeah.
So.
And
Such a
they,
wonderful
they
event.
really missed a large part of that coverage.
Right,
It was
no.
a wonderful event.
It was a 45-minute, just.
I'm only sad we didn't know about it,
accolades.
because I'm sure some of us would have loved to have joined you.
Exactly. I apologize, when we spoke, well,
Yeah.
I and Tim Segan to as well, how are we gonna keep this a secret? She said, well, just put it on the internet. He's never opened an email yet.
Oh my God.
No,
Remember
I
when he hit
should have
Aaron's
texted
chair?
her.
Yes, it was lovely. It was everything it should have been. It really was. And I know, and Senator Durant was there actually jabbing Representative Smola. They were spread out all over the place because it was about memorial events too. And I know Todd was here and I think ended up at Burgess in the afternoon. But Senator Durant drew the straw, the good straw. If it's long straw, that's the good one. He got to be here and give citations for both the House and the Senate. It was wonderful. It was a great event.
It was. Well, a quick funny Bobby story. So when Erin was retiring, we secretly ordered her a Tantasqua chair that we presented to her as a retirement gift. And I thought I had it shipped to either Mrs. Boyd or myself, but I ended up having it shipped to the high school. And Bobby saw it with my name and figured, oh, well, it has to be really important. So he put it into a room and never told anybody. And we had to reorder the chair.
Freaking out, and they swore it was delivered. We were like, no, it's 2 days before the event. What are we gonna do? We're ready to order another one.
And then
Bobby had to tuck it
that
in.
came up, and Bobby's like, well, Mike, I saw your name on it. I figured it had to be important. I'm like, well, but you didn't tell us it was
Guess you can keep a secret, or just forget about stuff.
Yeah, great event.
Awesome. All right, public access. Open forum. So as of right now, I do not anticipate a need for us to meet June 16th. Should something come up where that should change, we'll communicate to all of you. But before we adjourn, those of you that I'll see this weekend, I look forward to it. And those of you that I won't, have a wonderful summer. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion's been made by Mrs. Noyes Miller, seconded by Mr. Goodwin. All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Aye. Have a wonderful summer.
Thank you.
Meeting adjourned at 7:38.